Hello, I'm Terry Dendy, National Army Museum's Registrar.
And I'm Peter Johnson, Head of Collections Development and Review.
We're here today from the Museum's Conservation Lab to talk to you about some of our new acquisitions. As you can see, we have wonderful robes from Lawrence of Arabia and his dagger too. These are new additions to the collection that we've just been able to purchase. They're the first objects in our collection relating to Lawrence of Arabia, and hopefully we'll get more at some point. We're able to save the dagger thanks to a grant from the National Heritage Memorial Fund. We'll be answering your questions later on, so please do comment.
We're really excited to have taken this stuff into the collection. I mean, very few British soldiers have such a great legend attached to them as T. Lawrence did, or Lawrence of Arabia as he's better known. His military and diplomatic skills aside, it's really the cultural legacy and the aftermath of everything that he did that's really lasted, and we're really thrilled to be able to have these objects to talk about that.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the acquisition of the dagger. This was put on an export bar back in 2015 when an overseas buyer tried to buy it and take it away. Thankfully, the reviewing committee of the export of work of art were able to save it and were able to stop the export and push back the date so that we were able to buy it from them with the grant from the National Heritage Memorial Fund. This means that the object remains in the UK as it's such a significant part of our cultural heritage.
The dagger is really significant. It was given to Lawrence directly by Sheriff Nazir, who was one of the Arab leaders that he'd been working with throughout his work during the Arab Revolt. And it was given to him directly after the Battle of Aqaba, which is in modern-day Jordan, in July 1917, where Lawrence, working with Arab tribesmen, had swept in and driven the Ottoman Turkish forces out of the port and helped seize control of it.
The robes we purchased from Christie's in September from the Out of Ordinary sale, which is a sale that's dedicated to the unique and rare. The robes were once one of two given to the mother of Arthur Russell, who was enrolled in the Tank Corps with Lawrence. Lawrence had actually told her to cut up the robes and turn them into dresses. However, fortunately, Arthur stopped her, and we were since able to buy them thanks to another grant from the National Heritage Monetary Fund of £35,000.
I mean, the robes themselves are fantastic. You can see here it's ivory silk. It's very practical for moving across the desert. And really, if you want one object that has that mystique of Lawrence attached, I think the robes are very much it. Lawrence was very keen that he adopted that Arab sense of dress to help him blend in and help him actually do his job more effectively when it came to working with the Arab tribesmen. He said that, you know, if you're going to work with them, you have to dress like them. And he advised other soldiers to do the same. This is actually something that's been captured on film as well. If you think about the scene in the 1960s film where Lawrence actually consciously burns his British kit and then puts on the gear of the Arab tribesmen instead, and it's an incredibly impressive get-up, as you can see, and yeah, it's just fantastic, really.
So I think we're going to take some of your questions.
We're really excited to be able to sort of show everyone these sorts of things as well, and hopefully you guys are following at home, and we'll have a few questions. I think one question we've been asked as well is whether these are going to go on display, and we're happy to say that they will be on display when we open in the spring. So that's really good news too. So you'll have to be able to come and see the new museum then. We'll have a whole new load of galleries, and we'll not only have these artefacts on display, but in our gallery where we talk about the relationship between armies and society, we'll be exploring that concept of myth and reality, and how the challenges and how filmmakers sort of sometimes blended the lines. To see who else has got in touch here.
So this acquisition forms part of our bigger acquisitions programme, where we often purchase objects from auctions, and we also take donations too.
Just to say, Mandy's got in touch to say where is the museum. We're based in Chelsea in West London. You can find us online as well at nem.ac.uk. Alternatively, once we reopen in the spring, you'll be able to come visit us. Our nearest tube, Sloane Square, Overground train, Victoria. Really easy to get to. Really look forward to seeing you then. Luke has written, my dad was in the Imperial Camel Corps and once served under Lawrence and may have seen him wear these. Can't wait to see them. That's an amazing story, actually, that your father served with Lawrence too. And may indeed have seen him wear these robes or one of the other sets that he had like it. Fantastic. You know all about those sorts of stories then, the sweeping sands, the type of thing that made it into the historical epic, but doesn't necessarily come into our memory of the First World War. Anna as well has asked whether we'll be acquiring any other objects like this. We're always on the lookout for things of this type, not even just the really ultra high profile significant items. We collect all sorts of things, whether it's personal ephemera, diaries, letters, photographs, all sorts. And we collect that from the story of the British Army, from all soldiers really, from way back from the British Civil Wars to right up to the present day in Afghanistan as well. And I think that's pretty much all the questions we've got now. I think the depiction of Lawrence and his role in the First World War is throughout the Middle East in those films and those portraits, all those photographs you see of him are so significant. But what they do as well is not only do they provide an insight into the man, but also the myth and the way that was sometimes consciously cultivated, but also that wider sense of what was happening in the First World War. It wasn't just about the Western Front. It wasn't just about the mud and the trenches. This was a global war taking place across the map, really, and there were British soldiers fighting with their allies everywhere. Lawrence is a great way of introducing that to an often forgotten theatre of the First World War.
So our next live stream will be from the Houses of Parliament on the 15th of November, when a group of MPs and historians will debate whether your country has the right to make you fight. So like our page for updates and follow us on Twitter.